everybody, I'm Leslie Keith. I'm an occupational therapist and a certified lymphedema therapist. And I wanted just to talk to you today about a recent study that was published. It was actually published in 2017. I wanted to give you some information about how it relates to lymphedema and the treatment of lymphedema, lifestyle modifications that are related to managing your lymphedema, and how this might impact you, or if you're a lymphedema therapist, how it might impact your patients. So the study I want to show you is done by Katie Schmitz. She also did the PAL trial. That was the physical activity and lymphedema trial with breast cancer survivors. This is a newer one. It's the WISER trial. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you the study. So here it is, effective home-based exercise in a weight loss program on breast cancer-related lymphedema outcomes among overweight breast cancer survivors. And so very well done study. This is kind of what Dr. Schmitz is known for. She does these excellent randomized controlled trials, and we gain a lot of information about lymphedema and management by these studies. So they had some interesting outcomes. And so I wanted to talk about this study because I think that the people who ran the study were a little bit stunned on some of the outcomes. It didn't come out the way they thought it would. And I want to give you my suggestion on why it came out the way it did. So let me just set this study up for you. They had 351 women randomized into 4 groups. So it's a very nice population size there, sample size. Very good. And so they had 4 groups. One was a control group, and they gave that group just a compression sleeve for their breast cancer-related lymphedema in their arm. They just wore a compression sleeve. All 4 groups had the compression sleeve. In the next group, that was an exercise-only group, and it was weightlifting as well as, I think they also did some aerobic-type exercise as well. And then the third group was a weight loss group, and so they had the compression sleeve, but then they were also given lifestyle coaching and healthy eating. So they had regular meetings for doing all that, and what they used was a Nutrisystem, 3 meals a day plus a dessert, all provided by Nutrisystem, as well as a protein shake. And then the 4th group was a combined weight loss group with all of that they had in the weight loss group, plus exercise. And so they wanted to see what was this going to impact, was it going to have on their lymphedema, were they going to lose weight? And in every other study that had ever been done on weight loss and lymphedema, you lose weight and you lose size of your limb. The lymphodematous limb goes down in volume. So what was the outcome of this very interesting trial? Well, one thing was that they lost some people to follow-up, which is typical. Not everybody makes it all the way through the trial. And interestingly, in the weight loss group where they did just the weight loss, they lost almost most people in that group, 19 people. In the control group where they got nothing but a sleeve, they lost 22 people. And so that's interesting that you didn't get anything except for that meal plan, and they lost quite a few people. But here's the most interesting thing. In this study, unlike every other study, as I was saying, you lose weight and the limb volume goes down. This one, it did not. These women lost weight, but their limb volume, their lymphodematous arm, did not go down in size. And this was a little bit stunning, and they're kind of not sure why this happened. And so I'd like to give you my interpretation, my theory on why this happened. And I do believe it had to do with the diet that they were doing in the study. So they were all they were using the Nutrisystem 3 meals a day plus a dessert, plus a protein shake, and it was also supplemented with fruits and vegetables. The Nutrisystem meals are very high sugar and starch based. And the shake, the second ingredient is fructose. And then they were supplementing with more fruit. So this was quite a high sugar and high fructose diet. And one thing that we saw in an earlier study, an animal study, where they were looking at the inside of the lymphatic vessels. And they were looking at the impact of a high fructose diet on what happens to the inside of those vessels. And there's some very great pictures that show the images of the controlled diet vessels and then the high fructose diet vessels. And they're really swollen with the high fructose diet. And the researchers found that the lymph transport capacity was reduced as much as 50%. So what I would like to suggest to you is that in this study, where that they were given this very high fructose diet, low calorie, low fat, high fructose, that fructose was inflammatory to their lymphatic vessels. So even though they lost weight, the lymphedema did not go down. So they did not have the expected outcome because of the weight loss diet they were using. So, and I would like to suggest to you that if you instead cut your sugar and starch and eat plenty of healthy fats, you're going to have a more favorable impact on your lymphedema. And more about that next time, but thank you for joining me for this interpretation of a study. And if you would like a link to this study or that paper, please let me know. I'll have the information below this.